Hey, Luke Halliday here with yet another WandaVision episode review. This is my review of episode 8. We're now in the penultimate episode of the series. We've got one more episode for the season, or series in general. I doubt there's a second season. But anyways, let's just jump straight into it. What is grief, if not love persevering? Poetic words from Vision that tells us pretty much everything we need to know about WandaVision. At its core, this is a series about grief and what it means and how it can affect us all. This week's episode is focused in on giving the answers we've been looking for. As we saw last week, Agatha Harkness has been manipulating things in the background in WandaVision. And as we learn here, that although she's been pulling some strings, she's not the one that created the Hex. Nor does she have any control over it. Instead, she's a curious witch. An ancient one indeed. And as we see her during the Salem trials in 1693, so we know she's a very old witch. Agatha is simply curious about how Wanda has done this spell to end all spells. So she forces Wanda to take a trip through her memories in order to get to the bottom of it. As we see Wanda's childhood and come to understand why the reality of the Hex is in the form of sitcoms. It's honestly the most simple answer, really, and the one that makes the most sense. Wanda grew up learning English, watching sitcoms with her family in Sokovia. Sitcoms are intrinsically linked with her life through both joy and sorrow. In the darkest of times, they were a comforting escape, and it makes all the more sense why her fantasy life is manifesting in this way. More curious to note is that we learn that Wanda's interaction with the Infinity Stone during the Hydra experimentation wasn't exactly what gave her abilities. In fact, we learn here that she had latent abilities that were amplified by the stone. Just as she unconsciously cast a probability hex, which prevented the bomb from going off in her childhood, saving herself and Pietro, we learn that Wanda has always had magical powers. The question is now, why and how? Anyways, after a few stops down memory lane, we have a bit of a tender moment between Wanda and Vision at the Avengers compound, not long after her brother's passing during Age of Ultron. And it's a moment that really makes you understand why these people love one another. It's an important scene, and Vision delivers the aforementioned line, and Wanda knows that he implicitly understands her in a way few others do. It makes it all the more tragic when we see the memory of Wanda storming the Sword HQ to acquire Vision's body. We learn here that Director Hayward actually lied about Wanda stealing Vision's body. She did nothing of the sort. She came to the facility and saw Vision had been dismantled, and she was unable to feel his life anymore. She accepted this reality and left. From here we see that Vision had, prior to Infinity War, purchased a plot of land in Westview for Wanda and himself to settle down in and hopefully grow old together. And Wanda treks out to this location, and upon seeing the grounds where the home would have and should have been, utterly breaks down. And in her grief, loses control of her powers, and in an explosion of sorrow, manifests this reality that is the Hex. And most notably recreates Vision from nothing. All of this information has made things pretty clear for Agatha, who has now determined Wanda as too dangerous to live. Holding her children hostage, Agatha declares Wanda has been using chaos magic as the mythical Scarlet Witch. And we cut to credits. There was, however, a very important post-credits scene which shows Director Hayward using the energy from the Hex. He has managed to switch his now reassembled Vision back online. However, this Vision doesn't look too friendly. Just saying. I'm wondering if he's a bit more Ultron than Jarvis or Vision. Anyways, there's still so many questions to be answered. Only one episode left. I have no idea how they're going to possibly resolve all the hanging plot threads with only one episode remaining. But I am hoping they can pull this off. WandaVision has caused me to rethink a lot about what the MCU can and will be going forward. And I'm really excited to see the climax next week. I think this has been a really amazing show so far, and I'm really excited to see it all come to a head next week. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will be back next week with the final episode of WandaVision. See you guys then.